The autumn sun sagged low over Elmwood Street, stretching shadows across the cracked pavement. Elias Hawthorne, 82 and brittle as the leaves beneath his loafers, paused at his porch rail, fingers curled around the wood as if it were the last thread holding him upright. Across the hedge, the Garcia house stood silent, hollow since Maria Garcia's funeral 3 weeks earlier. Her laughter had once drifted like warm honey with the scent of Sunday tamales, now only wind stirred the empty rooms. Elias' chest tightened. Ede shared more suppers with Maria than with his own scattered children. But it was her eldest daughter, Elena, who lingered in his mind, eyes dark as polished stone, a smile bright enough to coax spring from winter. She hadn't returned since the burial. Until today. Inside, the house smelled of dust and years of solitude. A one-time mechanic, Elias lived now on a small pension and memories replaying like a scratched record. Maria had been his steadying force. The widow next door who swapped stories for pie and slipped cash under his door when his lights threatened to go out. Neighbors, she they said. Family, they sullenly believed. A firm knock cut through the quiet. On the stoop stood Elena, grief etched in her features yet luminous with quiet strength. Behind her clustered her 6 siblings, Tomás, broad-shouldered with a toddler on his hip, Sofia, the pain-flecked artist, Mateo, the easy joker, Lucia, a nurse with as sharp and kind, Javier, the quiet dreamer with engineering manuals tucked under his arm, and little Rosa, barely 20, violin case slung across her back. "We've missed you," Elena said, pulling him into a jasmine-scented embrace. One by one they followed her inside, their presence filling the dim living room like a sudden sunrise. Tomás set down the child, Sofia draped Maria's shawl across Elias' shoulders, Mateo unpacked tamales and flan. The house, once still as a tomb, bloomed with motion and warmth. As evening deepened, the Garcias revived the space. Lucia checked his blood pressure with gentle fussing, Javier rewired the porch light until it glowed steady, and Rosa drew a haunting Las Mañanitas from her violin, coaxing tears Elias had thought long dried. Sofia sketched the gathering, Elias in the center, a new constellation forming around him. Tomás recounted Maria's last days, how she spoke of Elias not as a neighbor but as the uncle who they quietly mended their lives. Later, under a star-pricked sky, Elena knelt before him. "Mama called you our 8th star," she said. "She told us how you bought Tomás' first bike, drove Sofia to art class, sat with Mateo through fevers." Elias shook his head, overcome. "She said when she was gone, we didn't know how to thank you." Elena pressed an envelope into his lap, the deed to his house, mortgage paid in full. Each sibling had contributed, extra shifts, side jobs, pooled savings. "We sold the old Chevy," Mateo added, half grinning. "Felt like it owed you." Lucia said softly, "Your medicine is covered too." Javier nodded. "Solar panels already on the roof." Rosa hugged him close. "We play for you every Sunday." This wasn't a pity, it was a circle completed. Elias, who they thought himself invisible, found himself claimed as family. Sundays became tradition. The Garcias arrived with instruments, food, and laughter that rippled down Elmwood. Neighbors peeked from curtains, drawn by the music. Elias taught Javier carburetors, braided Rosa's hair, even joined Sofia's art class. Yet he sensed their strain. One evening he overheard Lucia murmur, "We can't keep this up forever." "He thinks it's magic, but it's us scraping by." "Mama didn't raise quitters," Elena replied. The burden they carried pierced Elias. True generosity, he realized, meant accepting help and sharing the weight. A gray November morning brought rain and resolve. Elias called his estranged son, Mark, the night before. By dawn a U-Haul rolled in, Mark at the wheel, his wife and 2 grandkids spilling out like confetti. Elias had also rallied the block, Amir Patel from the corner deli with samosas, the Ramirez family with a bilingual choir, even reclusive Mrs. Finley carrying a quilt stitched from her regrets. When the Garcias arrived expecting a quiet meal, they found a streetwide celebration under rain-slick tents. Mark stood beside Elias, grandkids chasing Rosa's melody. Elias pressed a key into Elena's palm, the key to the Garcia house. "I sold it back to the city as a community center," he said. "Art space for Sofia, a clinic corner for Lucia, workshops for Javier. A place for all of us, neighbors helping neighbors." Mark confessed that Maria's letters, saved over years, had urged him to reconcile. Javier murmured, every action meets its return. Mateo grinned. Call it what it is, family. The party grew, umbrellas blooming like bright flowers against the storm. MRS. Finley shared her quote squares of lost turned to legacy, Mr. Patel's samosas bridged cultures, Lucia set up a makeshift health fair, and Sofia invited strangers to paint their hopes. Elena found Elias amid the crowd. You turned our gift into a miracle, she whispered. News of M. Wolf's revival spread. Volunteers came, but the quiet moments mattered most. Mark stayed, turning the garage into a workshop. Grandkids learned tamale recipes from Tomás Child. Sundays evolved into streetwide symphonies powered by Javier's panels. Elena opened the community hub as Maria's legacy, a beacon for single parents, artists, and elders alike. Spring brought fresh turns. Sofia's art drew a statewide grant. Javier perfected a low-cost solar kit inspired by the night he fixed Elias' porch light. The real engineering is in the heart, Elias told him. Lucia's clinic corner became a refuge for the uninsured. One evening she brought home a young mother fleeing abuse. The Garcias enfolded her without question, Elena tutored her, Rosa babysat, Tomás repaired her cat. Elias saw Maria's spirit alive in their embrace. Mateo eventually revealed the grief beneath his jokes, confessing guilt over their father's fatal accident. During an improv set at the hub, he let the pain surface. The audience responded with their own stories, and laughter returned, deeper than before. Rosa's violin became the Oop's heartbeat. Late at night she told Elias, I used to think beauty was in the notes, but Mama said it's in the silence between. In Nadit, harmonica in hand. And in the people who fill it. Her first original piece, 7 Stars, premiered at the Oop's anniversary gala. Tomás, who had carried the heaviest load, found relief when Mark offered him partnership in a small auto shop. With Elena's gentle push he accepted, the shop becoming a place where grandkids learned wrenches and dreams. Elena remained the quiet anchor. At dusk she and Elias walked Elmwood, streetlights flickering like fireflies. I came that first day expecting to grieve alone, she said, linking her arm through his. But you showed us lo siete an ending, it's a doorway. And you 7, Elias replied, boy stick, are the light on the other side. The true climax was never a single storm but the steady gathering of shared lives. A summer solstice festival filled Elmwood with hundreds, migrants sharing recipes, elders trading tales, Rosa's quartet playing beneath string lights powered by Javier's panels. Neighbors once strangers now danced together, proof that kindness, given, received, and passed on, can turn a lonely street into a tapestry of light. One snowy evening, Elias sat on his porch as the Garcia house glowed across the way, laughter spilling like starlight. He thought of Maria and whispered, family isn't blood, it's the hands that hold you when the world lets go. Elena joined him, wrapping Maria's shawl tight. From inside came the harmonies of her siblings and the neighbors who had become kin. All of us, she said softly, yours forever. And under that wide, forgiving sky, Elias felt the years lift, replaced by a lightness that hummed with hope, proof that compassion, quietly offered and freely shared, is the greatest rebellion against despair.